the day after my birthday. This is September 14th. It's my last day before going back to work. Things, because it kind of blows my mind that I'm like, wow, how did I get here so fast? Am I actually 68 years old? And man, that's almost 70. And my 60s seem like I just blinked and they're almost over. And it seems like almost my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, and just boom, you're there. So one thing I wanted to pass on, and I don't know how many people are actually going to see this video, but the first thing before I dive in I'm going to talk a little bit, but then I'm going to actually, I don't know if I'm just going to put this by itself on Facebook. Maybe that's the best idea versus tagging it onto a long video, because I don't expect everybody to watch the long videos. But let me just share this. Most of it, there are exceptions. Like with my parents are 20 years older than me. So it's kind of weird. They're on the other spectrum. My dad's 88, my mom's 86, which still in of itself, the way my mind's blown that how did I get to 70 so fast, or 68? I look at my parents and I think, wow, they're almost 90. Okay, doing a voiceover while my tire's getting fixed. Picture of my mom and dad's wedding picture, more current. Well, this is actually not real current. The next one's more current picture of my mom and dad. My dad's 88, mom's 86. This is a picture of my dad in the art studio. And here I am again, talking again. And the communication I'd like to give you, because a lot of my friends like Brian and Sandy, Mike, a lot of my friends, Freddie, in fact, most of my friends, in fact, say a majority of my friends a lot of them are in their 30s and 40s, and it just seems like yesterday. It just seems like I blinked. I told another friend of mine that it almost feels like I went to bed when I was like 30-something, and I woke up and got up, and it was like, what happened? I'm now almost 70. It goes by that fast once you're there. Now, if you are in your 30s or 40s or even into your 50s, like my friend Freddie, I think he's 53 or 54. My friend Sylvia just turned 60. And I remember when I met her, she was, I think, 36 going on 37. Okay. And now her kids it's funny, I think Sylvia's oldest daughter, Sabine, who was a teenager when I met Sylvia, went to meet her in Brazil, was, I think 17 or 18. And now her daughter, Sabine's the same age as Sylvia was when I flew down to Brazil to meet her. That's how fast time goes by, And then my sister's two sons, are now, in their mid-40s. My mom and dad, fortunately, they're still here, so they're able to experience not only grandkids, but great-grandkids. And now their great-grandkids are, approaching, teenage years, and they're growing up fast. So the point is, life goes by really fast now that I'm there, it's just zoop. And my mom and dad used to tell me that life goes by in decades and tens. Now I understand. And I've had to stop to kind of reflect on my life. I do that. I don't know if you do this on your birthday. To me, my birthday, it's a time to kind of just stop and reflect on my life and also have a sense of gratitude. And I like to think about things I'm grateful for, including friends and people and experiences, all those things. And that's kind of what I'm doing, even after the day after, because tomorrow I go back to work. I'm back in the truck, and I'm kind of back in the fast lane. And although I still make these videos, I make a video before I start my shift. I make a video usually at night. And so I wanted to talk about, I'm still getting a sense of why I'm doing this, but I wanted to talk a little bit about that in relationship to just life itself. I'm sitting in my home that I've called home. I've come home to for almost. I was talking to my folks who now live across the street of how long have I been here in this house? And I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 years, something like that, because I was with CRST for 3 years. I've now been with Knight for 9 years. So that's a total of 12 years of driving a truck over the road, which has now surpassed, I believe, the time that I was driving a taxi and a limo back and forth to Denver International Airport in Denver, that chapter of my life. So it just, when reflecting over my life, I realized that this YouTube channel that I've started called Driving to Tokyo, the driving part kind of blows my mind. I realize now 12 years of driving a truck over the road and over 10 years in Denver driving a taxi and limo back and forth to the airport before driving a truck. That's 22 years of driving professionally. I still consider driving a taxi and limo as professional because we had to have a HERDIC license, we had to have commercial license, we had to get a medical card, we had to do many of the same things that we have to do as a truck driver. And we are picking up clients, and now I'm moving freight. Before I was transporting people, okay, not cattle. I see the cattle trucks. I could never do that, to be honest with you, but picking up people at the airport, I'd rather pick them up than cattle. Some customers would say, well, thank you very much. No, truthfully. It's kind of weird when you think about it, if you stop to think about it. I'm thinking about this. You may not think about this or think it's a big deal, but it's kind of weird because I had 10 years of picking up people where it was an education of itself. Okay, this is a picture of me on the left, my best friend at the time, 1972, Walter, my high school graduation. And the next picture is going to be, I believe, my dad and me in my high school graduation. My dad was about 39 in this picture, and I was 19. There's going to be a picture of my two sisters and my mom, all very young, and then a high school picture with number 16, the Monte Vista varsity football team. And this is a picture of Carol Cook, who at age 20, when I was 24, shot and killed herself when it's kind of in the prime of my life. This is a picture of Carol and her sister Cindy, a young picture of Cindy, and then a current picture of Cindy when I hooked up with her 40-something years later in my truck. And here's a picture of my mother and father on the right, and Roger and my sister Janet in front of my truck when I was passing through on Thanksgiving. And a current picture of my mom and dad, are fairly current, and a picture of my dad in his art studio, which is where I call hometown. Doug. This is current reality. I'm in Green River, Wyoming. When I woke up this morning to do my pre-trip, I thumped a tire on my trailer and it seemed kind of low. Checked it with my gauge. I had only 30 pounds. So that slowed me down. So I'm here at a Love's in Green River, Wyoming. Unfortunately, there wasn't a Love's a few miles up the road, and the tire wasn't blown. So bottom line, I called breakdown, and it's being repaired right now. I just had all these photos. I'll attempt to put voiceover again. I accidentally erased the voiceover, but I guess I can just tell you now. I shared those photos, and maybe I'll put voiceover so the voiceover matches up with the pictures. But basically, there was a picture of my high school picture with Walter Alexander, my best friend at the time. And I saw that on my Facebook page, and it just flashed me back to 1972, which is now like 49 years, almost 50 years ago. And even though that was 50 years ago, it comes back just like right now, like it just was yesterday. And then there was pictures of my dad and me. My dad and mom my dad's about 20 years older than I am. So when I graduated from high school at age 19, he was about 39. Okay. There's a truck going by. Big, loud. That was loud. Anyway, I'm trying to walk around outside the Loves, and there's highway noise in the background. I can go into Carl's Jr. I think there's going to be music in the background. I can't sit in my truck right now instead of repairing it. But anyway, yeah, I like that John Lennon quote. Life is what happens when you make other plans. While you're making other plans, or something along those lines. And what that quote means to me is, it's almost like what happened this morning is almost the perfect example. I had my trip plan, that I was going to get up, drive about 3.5 hours, go to Lowe's, drop off this load, so live unload, back up to the dock, take care of that. And then my next load was in Ogden, nearby. Go pick up that load. I think it's probably a live load, pick up that. And after I did all of that, that would be the most important part of this day. Because once I drop this load off, pick up the next, my next load's going over to the Reno area, and I have all the rest of whatever I have left today to dry. Okay. All day tomorrow, and the following day, up from morning till about, I think, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the point is, it's about one shift from Salt Lake, Ogden area to Reno, but it's all wide open. Some of it in Utah, but it's all wide open. And then you get into Nevada, it's just wide open. Fortunately, there are truck stops, and I've done this a gazillion times. So what my current reality looks like, I have to get this truck tire repaired, trailer tire repaired. But my point is, it's a good example of a kind of metaphor for life. You have a plan, you have a vision, you have it all mapped out, and then something happens. Life is what happens when you make other plans. So you make a plan, and then life happens. And that's kind of how it has been for my life. And also trucking, it just works out that way. I love driving a truck because it keeps me grounded. Being almost 70 years old, my beard's gotten gray. I don't know if my personality's changed much. I'd love to have my high school, guy with a full head of hair, and he's 19 and young, talk to me now, to have an interview with my old, young self, and have it'd be almost like a father and son conversation, or maybe at this point, a grandfather and son conversation, to see what I would be talking about or thinking about or planning. I can tell you one of the things that happened, I know happened because I now can look back. When I came out of high school, I decided to go for a career at San Diego Gas Electric Company. I went down to the employment office every couple of weeks while I was working at a 7-Eleven store near the high school, until I finally got hired at San Diego Gas Electric Company. I was 19. I was one of the youngest employees hired. And I ended up working there 5 solid years. I was a laborer, tried being a lineman, ended up being a mechanic's helper in the fleet management in Carlsbad. And that was the type of job I could have probably stayed there until I retired. I probably been retired 10 years ago because I started so young. 40-year career would have been 59, something like that. And I actually, I love truck driving. I love my job. But what happened is, in the pictures, there's a picture of Carol. My girlfriend Carol, when I was 24, while I was working for San Diego Gas Electric Company, committed suicide. Shot and killed herself. And again, John Lennon's quote, life is what happens when you make other plans or have other plans. I wasn't planning on falling in love with a girlfriend who ultimately shoots and kills herself in the prime of my life. So I actually tried to work a whole year, but I was in bad shape. There was a point finally I just called up my employer, Sound Gas Company, and he just said, I'm not coming in anymore. And they said, are you taking a couple days off? No, I'm just not coming anymore. I literally just quit my job, never went back to work, didn't give them notice, sold everything I owned, left that job and took a bus across the United States, and then ultimately did a Eurotrain pass around Europe for 6 weeks. My employer, San Diego Gas Electric Company. I think Siri's talking to me in the background. That's weird. Anyway, what ended up happening is San Diego Gas Electric Company wanted to give me a 3-month leave of absence and pay for psychological counseling, and I turned them down. And the weird thing is I ended up only being gone for about 6 weeks, and I probably could have went back to San Diego Gas Electric Company and said, I made a mistake. Could you take me back? Or could I continue with that 90-day leave of absence? But I didn't. I just decided at that point, I'm going to put that behind me and go down another path, and then do that. Went another path. And here we are. And that's what happens with life. We do the best we can with what happens, with the best awareness we have at any given time. We make these choices, and that's what my whole life has been. This, that, this, that, this, that. Until ultimately, 12 years ago, I started driving a truck. And it's been the most solid thing I've done, because I've now been driving a truck 12 years. I've had the same job with the same company for 9 years. I've actually lived in the house that I've been calling home now for 9 years. And I'm more financially stable than I've ever been in my life. And somehow I managed to be in a better place after starting in a very scary place about 12 years ago. But I gotta go check on my tire, see how they're doing with repairing it. So I gotta hit the road. I'm gonna go check on that right now.